this video, I reflect on moving the goalposts in climate argument, or as I've learned, one sure way to get nowhere fast. This tactic pops up everywhere, in our relationships, at work, and definitely in politics, so it should come as no surprise when we see it in climate negotiation. Moving the goalpost happens when somebody changes the conditions of an argument to avoid being wrong. I think the best example comes from its alias. Some folks like to call this the not a true Scotsman argument. For example, I could say, all Scotsmen wear kilts, and you reply, my uncle's a Scot, and he doesn't wear a kilt. So I say, then your uncle isn't a true Scotsman. There's a lot going on in this simple chat. First, you'll note that I've never defined Scotsman. When you offer a definition, I simply challenge it and I win. Second, this is a clear example of gaming, power gaming. When you let me redefine things as we go along, you give me power. I'm the boss. I always get my way. I change the rules as I see fit, and you must agree to my terms to stay in the discussion. Or so I'd have you believe. And I win. Finally, there's no end. For every step you take, I move the goalposts out one more step. And I win. Often we may be blind to this tactic. But there is a clue that we can use as a test. If you ever catch yourself saying, are they never satisfied? You are likely engaged in a moving the goalpost argument. We see this a lot in climate negotiation. One I often get personally goes like this. I'd say, I think Alberta should take action on climate change. And I'm told, Albertans don't believe in climate change. So I answer, I'm an Albertan, and I accept that climate change is real, and we should take action. And then I'm told, but you're not a real Albertan. You don't work in energy. You're not a blue-collar worker. You weren't born here. Do you see how the parameters changed? Living in Alberta for most of my life isn't sufficient. And by this ever-changing definition, even my kids born in Alberta are not real Albertans, so they don't have a say in this discussion. They come from the wrong stock, and they work at the wrong sort of work. In this example, I didn't get a say in the framework of the discussion. The other guy just gets to change it whenever he wants. This is a no-win situation. Moving the goalpost is a symptom of the denial stage of the climate grief cycle. While folks may seem to be negotiating, they're actually using the tactic to avoid discussion. They may even seem to be reasonable, but in fact, it's a no-win situation that can go on forever if we let it. Once again, this is not the time to offer up facts and figures. They're not listening. They are simply working out how to counter you in ever-descending spiral until you finally throw up your hands in disgust and give up. We need to practice active listening. Be patient, and when we can ask folks to define their parameters. For example, I could say, I'm confused. What do you mean by a real Albertan? And how does this apply to climate action? They may push back, but this is still more constructive than giving them permission to simply move the goalpost at every step. And we must be willing to offer our own definitions as appropriate. For example, I could say, I'm a real Albertan. I lived here most of my life, and I support climate action. We must remember we really do have a say in framing the discussion. We don't need to give power to the other guy. This should be a fair exchange. They may get angry, but in the end, you may decide you don't need their goodwill after all, especially if they're a troll. We all have the power to have a meaningful discussion with folks who really want to make a difference. If we do this, we can actually reach the goal line. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below or pop on over to nodalcore.com, browse around, and leave your comments there. Thank you for spending a few moments with me. Until next time.